All right, we're live. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, a place for tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious to unite under all things art and tattoos. We encourage you to join in these live streams and real-world events where we offer a new option for connecting with each other to better your art, develop your skill set, and be with other like-minded artists. If you're new to the community, you can find us beaming out nearly every day. We've actually evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that expands nearly every day. Right now, you're currently watching episode number 7 of Ricardo Sturdivant's Reinventing drawing group. Thank you to everyone joining us on YouTube or Facebook, and a special thanks to all of you who are listening to our podcast. Our event schedule and notifications can be found in our official Reinventing the Tattoo community. To get there, you can search for and download our Reinventing the Tattoo app, found in both app stores, Apple and Google Play. You can also join directly from your browser at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. There you'll find all of our network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars. All of this can be also enjoyed on demand and are stored in our library, as well as our YouTube and podcast channels. There you'll find countless tattoo and art rabbit holes, perfect for the front room of your studio or to entertain your tattoo clients. In fact, we're actually beaming out 24/7, and you can find that at reinventing247.com. There you can enter to win a goodie bag with samples from Cheyenne cartridges, raw pigments, and D-Lies Pro. Now we have several weekly shows and drawing groups, just like what's happening today. We've got on Sundays, every Sunday at 1 p.m., our Reinventing drawing group where artists can beam in, work on, a design that you have for the week, something that you'd like critiqued with Jason Lesser. He's one of the most knowledgeable and brilliant people I've ever come to meet. And that would be a great opportunity. If you have any questions about anything in the tattoo world, bring them there. Every Sunday at 9 p.m., you can find myself, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks highlighting weekly events and talking about some fun stuff, digging some stuff up from the archives on the Tattoo Weekly. Every Monday evening at 9 p.m., we have our evening canon class with subscribers led by Guy Aitchison. This month, we are focusing on anatomy. To join, subscribe to the canon at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Again, every Tuesday at 10 a.m., you can find us here with Ricardo for his Reinventing drawing group. Wednesdays is a super awesome time to catch Gabe for the Tattoo Now show at 12 noon. Special guests are always coming on. Mike DeVries was on the 4th, Nick Mitchell, and a lot of new guests coming soon. Thursdays at noon, you can find the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. There's some great episodes. Last week, we had Russ Abbott. We've got all sorts of perspectives from the client to the collector to the artist. Join there at noon on Thursdays. Also on Thursday mornings, our subscribers can join Kier as she discusses apprentices, fundamentals, and skills like that. It's a great class to be a part of. While we're on the topic of what is going on in our community, I'd like to highlight Joe, aka Phantom Tattoos. He honestly has some really cool work. I was telling the guys about this before we hopped on. Just super unique perspective, and we want to say thank you to him for joining our community. And you can find some of the stuff he did at Wildwood Beach Bash last week, and all at Phantom's Tattoos in our community. There are other ways to support our show and our upcoming pro development and on-demand shows. We've got stuff from Andre Malcolm, BJ Betts, Bob Tyrell, and others. All of these can be found at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Before we get started, we want to say thank you to all of our sponsors for providing this community to us for free. We've got World Tattoo Events. They are the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events in the world. They have lots of stuff updating. Conventions are rescheduling all the time, but I recommend checking them out and getting lost in what you could possibly be doing instead of sitting at home. We also want to say thank you to Inkjet Stencils. Print stencils directly from your phone or computer. Save your time, your hands, apprentices' hands. Webinars and free samples are located at inkjetstencils.com. And of course, Raw Pigments, an e-company that is tapping into the source with acrylic-free pigments that have been pressing artists across the globe. You can find them at rawpigments.co. Otherwise, you can also order them directly through Lucky Supply. We've got D-Lies Pro, known internationally as Dermalize Pro. Protect your art. If you are using Saran Wrap, just watch some of the videos on their website to see tattooers, see what this is all about. We've got Gabe's Tattoo Now, where you can find tons of videos, tons of content always happening. He's got his Paradise BYOB event that will be just an incredible event that a lot of the members from Reinventing and other podcasters and people would be presenting at, including one of the newest that we've announced, Jesse Levitt. Of course, Guy Aitchison, the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. You can find his biomech encyclopedia, DVDs, machines, paintings, and all of this at guyaitchison.com. Also want to say thank you to Jake from the Fireside Tattoo Network. He's been awesome. He's got tons of great content on his YouTube channel. And of course, you can find him every Sunday evening at 9 for the Tattoo Weekly. We've also got the Apprenticeship Diaries and eco-friendly tattoo supplies.com. Now, if you guys want to see us in person, we are real people, surprisingly. You can see us at the Paradise BYOB, October 3rd to 6th, 2021. We'll be webcasting shows live, tons of amazing guests and seminars in a really great location, Jiminy Peak, Massachusetts. We'll also be in Brussels on November 12th to 14th, the Brussels Tattoo Convention. Well, Nick Baxter, Ivana, and Gabe will be doing seminars, beaming in an art jam, and all sorts of stuff. We'll also be in Hull City in May 20th to 22nd. July 8th to 10th, we'll have the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo. And July 29th to 31st next year, the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational. All of these, I'm sure that if you are expecting an invite, now would be the time to kind of contact the promoters or anything like that to see what their plans are, as I'm sure they're remaking them and making them now. Next October 20th to 23rd, we will have the official Paradise Tattoo Gathering. So aside from that, we welcome positive reviews on the channels and would love for you to follow us. We're everywhere where you can get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, all sorts of stuff. If you'd like to host an event like this or to sponsor our community, just send us a message at management@reinventingthetattoo.com. For now, I'm going to hop on in the background, read off comments that you have. I'll have the browser open. If anybody has anything to say to Ricardo or questions, we will definitely answer those throughout the podcast. All right, Ricardo, let's jump into how you're doing. I know that we will be seeing each other this weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be super awesome. Looking forward to it. I've been anticipating it all this week, and starting to get prepared for the next couple of days for it. So it's going to be a great time. I haven't been down to Texas in a while. That's my home state originally. So it'll be kind of fun to check it out. But yeah, thanks again, Lauren, for the introduction. That was killer, as usual. Good job. And yeah, man, and everybody, thanks for joining. I think we already have Joe here in the lobby with us. I just wanted to say good morning to him as well. Good morning, Joe. Why don't you hop on and say hello to everybody?
Hello. I am here.
Yeah. You're in Eastern time, right?
Yes.
Definitely. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you, like where you're from and how long you've been jumping into the chats.
My name's Joe. I work at a little shop in West Virginia called Mountain State Tattoos. I've been tattooing for probably about 10 years or so. I don't know. I like doing color work and stuff like that.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I have a hard time talking about myself, dude.
Hey, Joe, would you mind showing some of those drawings that you just showed us before?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. That one, there's one of them.
Very cool.
This one's not quite done yet, but it's almost there.
Nice. So you get into like the Japanese kind of folklore?
I have waves, you know what I mean? I get into different things at different points. Sometimes my creativity throws me this way, that way. Mm-hmm. Normally it's always in color though. You know what I mean? I hardly ever do anything in black and gray or stuff like that. I don't know. It's hard for me to transition it into it. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting there, but you know, like everything, it's a learning process.
Definitely is. Well, you come to the right place, man. Believe me. You know, I've had a lot of things on my mind that I wanted to talk about outside of drawing today, but one of them is like when I started these episodes, one of the first things I wanted to say at that time and still now is that, you know, facing the fears that we have as far as like putting ourselves out there. Like you just said a little bit ago, you know, you don't like to talk about yourself, and I don't either, believe me. But you know, so this has been difficult for me, man, but it's been such a learning experience and such a big growing experience for me to be able to like share what I think, who I am, the way that I like, you know, approach my art and stuff like that. And then getting messages from people and then telling them what it meant to hear something that I might've said that day, or, you know, some kind of motivational thing, or like, or just the artwork in general, you know what I mean? It's amazing, you know? So there's a lot of affirmations that kind of come with that, approaching that fear, man. So thank you for joining us, dude. And thank you for, you know, kind of hanging out and making this a little bit easier for me too. So yeah.
I'll be the buffer. It'll be okay.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, no doubt, right? It's like we got Adam Atomic in here, man, and Jason. I just see it, so I'll pop on real quick. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Real good. Real good. Feeling pretty motivated.
Yeah, I
after
realized
last night.
halfway through class last night that I meant Ricardo and said about the little triangles thing, that he's going to say I have my triangles wrong, but I said Bruno instead of Ricardo. Maybe
right. Yeah, no, man, that's cool. It's cool. Whatever, you know, as long as it gets across to you, that's the only thing that's important.
I'm sure he'd answered to worse. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's no doubt. Yeah, that's a good point. Very valid point. It's like, why did I just turn my head when they said that to me? I guess,
right?
Yeah,
wait, that resembles me. Hold on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So for those of you who weren't with us last night on Guy Etchison's Monday night drawing classes, I think I would recommend that you guys give it a go. Like, do everything you can to try to make that happen. It's been super motivating, super inspiring. You know, again, to touch back on that thing about being nervous and timid about kind of putting yourself out there, man. Like, one of the most down to earth dudes that I've met. And you know, I was fortunate enough to be tattooed by him recently, as well as Jason Leeser has been before me, and I got a chance to hang out with him twice, man. It's awesome. And his approach to things is great, and he's a really easy to talk to dude. So if you guys want to join in, and lots of pointers, lots of advice, and I've grown so much since I first started joining in his classes. That's that.
Yeah, you said you were wanting to talk about some stuff kind of not related. And I had a thought last night as I was sitting there watching the Air Force Base across the street. If they can do tattoo laser removal, why can't we do the opposite?
What do you mean?
Why can't we apply a tattoo using a laser?
Oh, damn. That's incredible. That's some what
You in the back, Jason.
yeah, no doubt, dude.
I think
Tell
he's
me
got
about
some
it.
info.
Oh, applying the tattoo with lasers?
Oh, I know this.
Do it. Let's hear it, Jason. Give it to us. Give it to us.
Yeah, me? Yeah.
Yes, you.
Okay.
I already introduced you as one of the smartest people I know, Jason. So
I know you're probably starting to regret that right now, aren't you?
No, not at all.
No.
All right, so let's break this down and think about this, okay? What is a laser?
Refracting light.
It's forced light. Right.
It is an intense beam of light.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Control.
And we don't tattoo with light. Correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We
use
tattoo
pigment.
pigment.
Right.
Because pigment reflects light.
Yes.
And that's how our eyes perceive light, is based off of the wavelength reflection from various surfaces.
Yep.
So when we look at suntan lotion, okay, we're looking at this bottle of suntan lotion, and what we're seeing is different wavelengths of light. You know, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm seeing the blue wavelengths of light reflecting off of this bottle and being picked up by the blue cones in my eye. You guys are seeing the blue of this bottle, okay? You guys are seeing the blue being portrayed on a screen that is being directly picked up by the cones in your eye.
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
There's not currently, and I'm not saying it won't ever be developed, but there is not currently a way to, number one, manipulate natural skin cells to become pigmented enough to reflect those specific waves of light.
Mm.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because light is
Yeah.
just a reflection of wavelength of energy.
That's
Well,
exactly
We're
right.
gonna have
that's
to figure
why
out
I
some way to
considered it
program the
could be a
cells in our skin.
possibility. Right.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible in the future. I'm just saying as of right now, we're not even close to that technology.
At least not available to the public.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Aliens are real, man.
Hey, if they built pyramids thousands of years ago, they could figure this out.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
You know,
If they could
well-
map things off stars with nothing, they got that.
What do you guys
Then
think you
again,
would
you are
name?
talking about altering the human biology, right? You're talking about some type
Right.
of a biological modification that would allow the specific pigment or reflective surface to actually bounce those wavelengths of energy back off of our skin, our actual skin, and into our eyes. Right now,
So
we're using tattoo pigment to go
Right.
through and dye those skin cells a very specific tone to reflect those specific wavelengths of light. So until we can go through and find some way to biologically modify our skin cells in
Mhm.
order to have that sort of an effect, if, say, put under some type of an intense, very specific frequency wavelength of light, like some type of a very specific type of laser, if we can engineer our skin cells to go through and change color based on the intensity or wavelength of light that they are interacting with, then absolutely that's going to be a definite possibility. But until we can get to that level where we can modify our own genetic skin cells, it's going to be a real struggle to do that.
So we need crossbred with Oscars.
Or
I
chameleons,
feel
or octopuses, or,
I
or
feel
cuttlefish, or
that
any
if
number of different.
if it was going to be like that, it would look more like a birthmark at that point.
Truth. Very
You know
true.
what I mean?
And that's kind of what I was
Different,
thinking was more
different
along
tones
the
and stuff
lines
like
of,
that.
right, almost a burn,
Right.
but without the rays, just the discoloration.
I think they have
Yeah.
that. It's called the suntan. I mean,
Or
am I
sunburn,
wrong?
right?
Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just sunburned, so
Well,
yeah.
I was going to say
Right, and that's so many frequencies at once, what the sun's putting off.
exactly,
So,
and
you
it's
know,
putting out all
if
different
we
types of
were to-
radiation as well.
Right.
Right.
That's
I don't know.
incredible.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, anything's
so
possible.
funny
man.
story.
There's a will, there's a way, right?
Funny
Mhm.
story. When I was back in high school, my friends and I took a trip to the beach, and my one friend ended up falling asleep on the beach. And we thought it would be funny to go through and take suntan lotion and draw something on him while he was asleep.
Of course.
Yeah.
He was not too happy with us after that.
No, I don't think so.
What was the subject matter?
Um,
Was it
it was phallic in
anatomically?
nature.
Yeah, misproportioned, anatomically misproportioned, right?
Taking up his whole back.
Yeah, there you go.
He had to spend the rest
Nice.
of the summer with a shirt on.
Oh man,
Nice.
That's pretty
you guys,
great.
you kind of did him a favor though. You know, you helped him avoid all those dangerous UV rays
Right.
after that first initial visit.
Yeah,
Some
we're
of-
good.
was just
some of
trying to
those
save
rays.
his life.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the rays, exactly.
Hey guys, I just want to say hey to Ask Kay in the chat. He says hello, Ricardo sir. Thank you for watching.
Ashkay. Thank you, Ashkay. It's always a pleasure, man. Good to hear from you. I hope everything's well over in your part of the world, and that you're doing as well as you can be. Hopefully, everything starts settling down for you guys over there. This whole COVID thing, but yeah. So I don't even know where to go. That was awesome. I think You know, the first thing I think of is like, what would we name something like that? I think it'd be something Star Wars related for sure. You know what I mean? The Life Star, not the Death Star, or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, digress. All right, so yeah, last night we were talking in Guy's class about some of the methods and stuff like that that we can use as far as drawing some of our forms and some of our anatomy. I have a couple different ways that I'd like to talk about this, and we'll go back into the way that I draw in general. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Just 1 second. All right, so this one I've already kind of done, and I'll go through the steps about blurring this image out. For all of you who are watching and participating, hopefully you're comfortable with the human form, because we all have one, the human form. So we can kind of get past everything else that we might initially see right away and just get down to the basics of what we're trying to do here, which is study shapes and form. Being said, I've already gone through and I've already done a Gaussian blur on the image on the left here. And you can see how what it's doing for me is it's relaxing my eye, and I'm not paying attention to any of those details that I would be struggling with normally if I was to just hyper focus on one area of the body or the overall image even, and get kind of stressed out and anxious about it and not even want to approach it. So that's what we're going to try to do today, is we're going to try to talk about getting rid of that stress, getting rid of that anxiety with it, and being able to approach it by observing the simplest of shapes and the simplest of forms. And today we're going to use just 2 tones and give us some gesture drawings as far as manipulating an illusion that is a body. All right, so the first thing I do is, like I said, we'll go ahead and I'm going to lighten this up for you guys. And I thought it'd be fun to do it together instead of having everything prepared, so that way we can, some of us that might not be too familiar with Procreate, we can kind of go over this. And I by no means know as much as like Jason does. Usually he's the one that I'm calling at all hours going, hey, how do I do this?
If that's true,
Yeah.
Ricardo, then why do I reach out to you for help?
Oh man, dude. Well, it's a community effort then, right?
Yeah,
Takes
correct.
a village.
Knowledgeable in different areas, absolutely.
So we've gone through the curves here, and I'm gonna mess with the lighting in it. And all I'm doing is taking out some of those dark areas so I can focus on, you can see in the image to the right how much more dark there is now in the overall shape versus the one on the left. I've gone ahead and taken out some of that saturation, that heavy saturation in it, and that allows me to pay attention more to these blurred out kind of shapes. So that's one way of doing this in Procreate. I like this app, and I like using this on our Zoom calls because it's easy to see what's going on without having to set up a bunch of different angles and cameras and stuff like that. So we'll just go for it. Again, I think I'm going to do a little collection of brushes and stuff like that for you guys, and then just put it up on the RIT platform. And then I think you can grab them. They're not fit, but they come with the app and stuff like that, so it should be okay. Hopefully, if not, you guys let me know and tell me to just cease, and I'll do that. Either way, I like the flat brush. I like the flat brush for everything. All I do is just mess with the size of it, the brush size. You can see here on the left-hand slider, and the opacity. These 2 things are the basics of this, all the possibilities of this app, but I like it, and that's all I really need. So back to the shapes. Triangles, circles, squares, and rectangles. That's it. The simplest of simple shapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to observe the first few things that I see. I always go to the triangles. And you can see how I'm picking these anchored points on this person's form to pick the destination and where I want my eye to relax into the idea of proportions and my shapes. Now, the best part about this one is we get to go back through and erase all of it because I drew on top of that same there, didn't we? Yes, I did. Sweet. All right, so you guys get to see how I fixed this mistake too, right? So let's go ahead and just back out a little bit. 2 finger taps. Okay, let's create another layer. There we go. All right, it's gonna be better. So again, and you can also see here. Now, the other things I'm going to observe, of course, are going to be these other shapes that we're talking about. Circles and rectangles. Now, before I start rendering any gesture, these are the things that I observe immediately. Where my eye goes automatically is what are the most basic, simple, flat 2D shapes that I can find in this image. And the reason that I do that is not only to balance my proportion, not only to help with the management of the action in this form, because with action, it's going to convey an emotion. If you guys ever seen that movie, The Incredibles, Brad Bird was the director of that movie. And in the outtakes and the extras, they have him walking through talking to the animators, and he made them watch the old Jungle Book cartoon from Disney. And the reason he made them do that was because of the ways that the artists at that time captured all the movement and submersed them into their environment.
Are you sure it wasn't just the songs?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't just the songs. Yeah, exactly. That's a great movie, and the songs are awesome because
right.
Yeah, but yeah, no, he had them pay attention to like the way things would fall in gravity. He had them pay attention to manipulating the image in order for you to perceive that it's real. And that's all we do. That's all we do with everything. All we do is make a viewer perceive it as real. It's not real. They can look at something and tell you you've drawn a woman, you've drawn a male figure, you've drawn a hand, you've drawn a face, you've drawn a skull. Whatever it is that you're drawing, you've drawn a honey mask. You haven't drawn a honey mask. What you've literally done is draw a collection of shapes, and those collection of shapes have manipulated the viewer's eye into believing that it is what they see. And I like to talk about that a lot because I boil it all down to perception. Perception comes along with a collection of moments in our lives that have brought us to this point in our life. We use those collections of moments to process what it is that we're looking at. So no matter what it is that you're conveying, in the simplest of terms, you can convey an illusion of a skull, but there's going to be an association that comes along with that. And that is usually in the viewer's eye. And that's where our artistic voice can kind of like ring true, so to speak. I like to also say that these are the shapes that we're taught as children. And I've gone over this last week, gone over it a few other times. We've used these shapes that we've been taught at a very young age to demonstrate the world around us. Again, simple, easy. You walk down a hallway at an elementary school, you're going to see that everywhere. And the reason that is because we've been taught these simple shapes and we're trying to imitate the life around us. We're trying to convey what it is for us to be in this world, to be in this place together. So that's that. And the other thing that I want to talk on, perception. Again, at a young age, we're taught that has a sound to it. A. you can apply it to other words. Apple, it takes on a different connotation, a different stress of sounds that your tongue forms out of your mouth to fucking convey an idea. And then you combine all these other little shapes together, and you come to understand it as a word that has a definition to it and a relationship to it. But the best part about it is that all that is, and I'm going to write it out, is contrast. Contrast in the simplest form. Two objects that are strikingly different from each other. That can be color, that can be black and gray values. Today we're going to be talking about black and gray value contrast. And we're going to be using two simple shapes or shades of contrast in order to make these gestures and to give us the impression of this shape that we're going to call the body. Contrast can be looked at as this, and the reason I say and I write this is because we have become so dependent, especially as tattoo artists, and it's not a bad thing. Line work. Line work is the foundation that we've come to understand as the conveyance of the image. And it can be utilized in that way for sure, and it can be used in a very strong way. But today, again, we're going to be concentrating on simple shapes, simple forms. So we're still going to be able to express a language and express something that's legible for everybody to see without using these lines that make up this. When you break it down, all it is just shape on top of a strikingly different background. And if we make it smaller, that same shape, lettering. So lettering, line work, all it is just simple contrast. Everybody following? You guys understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it makes sense. So, with that being said, what I've done is I've done two different swatches over here, and we're going to use the light. Okay. Last night, and in all my drawings, what I like to do is kind of create this mid-tone for my paper. And I'm going to minimize the size of that brush and kind of opacity up just a little bit more. And then I'm going to use the same mid-tone. And again, like in this first drawing, I'm going to focus on these shapes. I'm going to focus on these anchors. And I'll show you two different ways that I like to do it. First, I'm going to do it a more traditional way where we're drawing line work, if that's what you want to call it. But it's going to be in the form of a larger, more magnified line work, which is just going to be a simple gesture shape and simple gesture contrast. Just a little bit. And again, I'm focusing on these anchor points. I'm not going to go through and plot all these anchor points, but they're going to be in my peripheral. What I'm doing is also paying attention to these areas in the body. I have those simple shades. And again, that in itself, in a more compartmentalized way, has its own shape as well. Now, I don't think of all these things when I'm applying these drawings. I don't sit there and go over all of these steps to myself. I know that I've studied them enough for long enough of a period of time in order for it to become like a muscle memory thing. And I highly suggest all you guys, Joe earlier was talking about with me and Lauren that when he's busy and occupied, he'll draw pictures and stuff like that. They kind of help with the time. As artists, it's incredible how we I don't know about you guys and like Joe, but like I will be drawing every chance I get. And it's not because I want to, it's not because I need to. It's more like because I want to breathe. It's the same way that I want to like drink water when I'm thirsty. It's the same way that I need to eat, you know, like it's just the drive. And the more we do it, the more it becomes this acclimated thing, this muscle memory thing for us. And I don't know about you guys, but I definitely find solace and comfort in it for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So here you can see that my plot points are just a little off. So I'm going to go through them with a smaller brush. I'm using landmarks the whole time. This is loose. I'm not worried about coloring outside lines. I'm not worried about a line work having to be perfect. I'm not having to worry about crispy edges, nothing. All I'm doing is getting all the information in here, the basic information in here, not as quickly as possible, but as true-ish as possible as I can. So I can move on and eliminate that stress and anxiety that you might feel, because all we're doing is drawing shapes. But the thing that keeps us from it is like, I'm gonna fuck this body all up. Like I'm gonna make it look so ridiculous. I'm not gonna be able to do it. And I talk about this a lot, this manifestation kind of thing. Like if all you do all day is tell yourself, I can't do it. I can't do it right. I'm not gonna do it right. Well, guess what? You're not going to do it right. All you've done is convince yourself. You're the one telling yourself that you are not going to be able to do it. That's terrible. It's terrible. We have so many things that negate us from being happy outside in the world. So many tragedies that happen all the time. Why are we going to put ourselves through that same experience when we can create, like this image, we can create our own world, our own illusion? And you can see the arm's just a little off, but that's okay. All I'm going to do is just go through, add just a little more shading, because we have this magic thing called erasing tool. And I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to focus on all of my highlighted areas. And again, it's its own shape. You see that? Simple. It's easy. We can make it as easy as we want to. Now that's not exact, but you guys can see right away it looks like a penis. But we're going to take all that information and just simplify all of it. That way we have a good starting point. And you know what, let's go ahead and start going in with the darker tone. Now, if you want to, and I like to do this, is go slow, stay big with the brush. I'm not worried about all the little S curves and stuff like that. I'm not worried about all the little defining little elements that make up the rest of this like contoured shape, these little nuanced kind of movements in the muscle and the way gravity affects it, the way light affects it. All I'm doing is focusing on where to put my midtones and my dark tones in relation to the image that I perceive. That way I can convince you that this shape is true. There's one. So that would be like a finished, to me, that's a finished sketch. I like to keep it loose. And another thing that you can do too, when you want to start going and refining it, is if you wanted to, you could go in and duplicate the layer, right? So then you have another layer to test on, to play with, and you still have the original. That's a good handy feature. And again, this is another reason that we're using Procreate today, outside of just it being a good learning tool for all of us to be able to view. It's fun. It's fun to be able to, like, you know, it takes that anxiety. Again, there's that word anxiety and stress. It takes it all away, and it allows you to kind of focus on what it is that you should be doing, which is practicing. Practice, 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 practice. As much as possible. So you saw the rough sketch. I would call a finished sketch. Now at this point, I'd like to go in and I'll blur out some more of this other stuff that I put in there for relationships of proportions, light and shadow. And I'll start kind of like using that massage, the blender smudging tool to kind of go in and start shaping it out just a little bit more true to the actual image. This is another thing that comes up a lot with tattooing, is how do I make my own style? How do I you know, change it from the reference? How do I make it my own? Well, this is a good way to do that. And the reason I say that is because what we need to do, instead of focusing on like a overall style, is focusing on the marriage of these shapes with each other. What happens with that is the more you practice them, the more you can create out of your head, because you understand how these shapes work together. If that makes any sense to you. So now I can go in and start really kind of seeing on a lot of this, and the actual placement of everything. And I can also start looking at my value range too. But I'm still looking at this image. I'm still, without having this image in front of me at all times, while I'm observing this shape, I'm squinting my eyes, and it's giving me this effect. And it's important to do that every so often. It's also important to step up and walk across the room or hold your image up into a mirror. It allows you to kind of step out of yourself, step out of your own perception, your own perceived notion of these shapes, and observe them from a different perspective. And there's that word again. You can see the curve there. I can see the darker spot for the armpit. I can see the darker spot there. You can see how it's still all very, very loose. It's all still very overlapping. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. I like it. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. It feels like I can take it anywhere I want to at this point. It's mine. And I'm convincing you to look at it. I also like the way it makes me feel that I have sat down and taken that worry out of myself about it. Being here on camera, being in front of everybody, explaining things that I've done that other artists have done this same kind of method. It's not just me.
And what kind of brush is that you like using?
This is a flat brush. It's let's see, it's right here. If you go into your, I have a bunch of extra paid for brushes and stuff, but in
Right.
what comes with Procreate is usually, I think, pretty much from sketching down. If you can see here,
Yeah.
it's sketching.
Right.
It's in the painting section, and it's the second brush down. And I will use
gotcha.
that. I'll use that same brush for my eraser and my smudger and everything. I don't really mess. The only time that I really use the inking pen or anything like that is for when I'm doing a line drawing for a tattoo, and then when I go to print it and stuff. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Have you ever
Yeah.
played with the BJ Betts penmanship set?
I don't think so. Do you mess around with it a lot?
I really, really like his brush pen.
Okay.
The
What do
the
you like
ability
about
to
it?
use the pressure to adjust width on it is a
Okay.
blast.
Awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, man. I'll have to check it out. If you have any, examples of like big images that you've created with it, I'd like to see them. Because I'm assuming it makes it just feel a little bit more real, is basically what you're saying, right? Like a little bit more,
Yeah.
it's a little more
Yeah, a little
intuitive.
bit more like you're really using a brush.
Right. All right. So I think we're getting there, like where I'd like to start on another one. Well, hopefully this is making some sense to you guys and y'all don't mind me rambling while I'm doing it.
Nope, it helps.
Good. These are some of the, like, this is the way that I feel like it approaches and it helps my artwork when I think about those like those ways of
Processes.
perceiving ourselves. Yeah,
Right.
processing like our thoughts, marrying our like our moment where we're at mentally with sitting down and drawing these photos and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like it's an important place to be. I think is a still mind whenever you sit down. It's like it's like a light switch. You can turn it on and off if you have to. Like you should be able to anyway. Sit down and relax and do this drawing. And you can see this. I'm already noticing that this area right here is definitely not as marginal as it needs to be, and that's okay because I'm just gonna go in. And this is where a lot of people were like, "What the fuck?" You can do a couple things here. You can pick it and isolate it, and you can move it around if you have to. You can distort it, so I can really put it exactly where it needs to be. I don't like to do that. Not too much anyway. If it's something that's almost finished and I notice it later, it just happened to me a lot. I'll realize that in a drawing that I spent hours and hours on painting it and everything, that there's some little things that I need to change. But with this, at this point in time, I just smudge it out. I'm not comparing myself to this notion, but one of the things that I like knowing about like Buddhists that do go through and they'll visit places and do mandalas for people, they spend hours and hours and weeks sometimes creating these beautiful ornate designs out of dyed sand, only for people to come in and take pictures of it and observe it, and then they just sweep it up, put it in a little bag, and go to a river and just pour it into the river. And I've always loved that notion. Always loved that notion, that idea, that concept.
Yeah, one
The
of the things
impermanence
I
of
like
everything.
about tattoos is the ability to have my artwork get up and walk away. It's not going to be a
Yeah,
pile in the corner for later.
that's awesome, man. That's a really
It
good way
gets
to
to go
look at it.
live
Yeah,
outside.
yeah, like it gets to share the experience with the person, doesn't it?
That's what I like, that it lives way beyond its shelf life. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that can
Yeah,
really harm it or
yeah. You guys can see here how the erasing tool is like a little magic tool, There we go. I think that's pretty comfortable for me. I would be able to like walk away from that and go, that's a good first start. It's a good rough draft. And I feel like at this point I have enough information in it and taking into consideration that I have my light source and stuff like that kind of narrowed down. And the proportions are fairly true. They're not exact by any means. And I think that, man, I've always heard that term of art, like abstract art. And the first thing we think about is like a Jackson Pollock or some guys that do just simple like splatters or like so many layers of paint that create these interesting images of color and formlessness. But everything that we do by hand is going to be a form of abstraction, no matter what. It, it's going to be filtered through our view, through our abilities. So Don't beat yourself up so bad whenever you look down at the picture and it's like, oh, well, it's not exactly as is. If it's not a tattoo, it's fine. If it's a tattoo and you're focusing in on hyper realism and stuff like that, you should be pretty aware of what exactly where a lot of good things, good information in the drawing need to be. But that's not our point today. We're just kind of observing light and shadow in the torso, like the description says. So anyways, like I said, I think I have enough information here. The feet are always tricky to me. So I always try to like squint my eyes at it and pay attention to the rectangular shape of it. It's like a tapered rectangle, depending on how it sits on the body. And you can see our terminus edge or the terminator edge, which is a spot in the form where it starts to turn and light starts to cease to exist. And what I mean by that is this area right in here. You can see how light is hitting the top of the form here. That's what helps give us our roundness.
Well, unfortunately, I gotta go, so I will see you guys later.
Okay, Joe, thank you for joining, man.
Oh, no
Have a good
problem.
one.
I will
I
see you
appreciate it.
guys soon, I'm sure.
Okay, cool.
Peace.
Killer. Yeah,
Y'all have a good one.
thank you. You too. All right. So we can go over a couple other things and stuff like that. We'll do one more quick gesture drawing. And then I have a still life over here set up to where I can show you guys a couple little tricks that I like to do when it comes to learning some of these important shadowed shapes. All right, so first of all, we're going to go through this real fast. We'll do this. I'll show you guys how I manipulate that image. And duplicate it, minimize that image right there. Go up here to the wand, and right here is Gaussian Blur. I'm going to just move my pen from the left side of the screen over to the right, and you can start to see it change. And that's basically the effect that you'll get whenever you start squinting your eye at a subject matter. Again, you can see how detailed it is, how much information is there, and how overloaded process it can be. And then once we start to Gaussian blur it or squint our eyes at the shape, you're going to see how much more simple those forms become, and the triangles and rectangles and stuff like that start to kind of pop out of us. And to make it even easier, we're going to, with the magic of technologies, we go into our curves and lighten it up a little more. There. Now you can really start to see these, like we were just talking about, those terminator edges, terminus edge. And we'll go ahead and make one more layer just to play it safe. You see how much difference that makes? That's the same image. Look how much more simplified we've made it. Look how much more approachable we've made it. It's also creates this curiosity into the shape. You're not relating into that story of it so much anymore. Now you're able to pay attention to the simple shapes that are in there. Observe them, if you will. So anyways, so one more time, do one more layer. The terminator edges. This is where light is hitting, and the terminator edge is creating these areas where form starts to turn. Again, like I said, it starts to roll over, because this shape here, no matter how simple of a rectangle that might look like, actually more of a cylinder. And I remember somebody saying that they relate to shapes as cylinders.
Yeah, that was me.
There you go. This is what we're doing. We're creating that cylinder. And what we see is the way the light hits those top edges of that cylinder.
Right.
So what happens is that top edge here and here eliminate the possibility of light existing in these areas. So it dims it out. So that means that our eye perceives that rolled shape, that dimensional form. Real quick, it's real fast.
Yeah, the reflective light always throws me off, like that bounce back that you get.
This is the reason that I chose this one.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
Yeah.
I was kind of doing like Guy was saying last night, looking for the gaps.
That's the one thing that I'll tell you is if you focus on those gaps, if one of the first things that you naturally are inclined to do is look at those gaps and then push it. Go for
Right.
it. Like keep studying that and see where it takes you. You know what I mean? Like investigate it and explore it. It's good to be able to do that. Like follow your natural inclination in drawing. Like it doesn't have to be exactly the way if somebody says it's going to be. It's good to practice that method because later on you're going to find that that natural inclination is going to want to come out more and you're going to have more information in order to be able to achieve that more effectively. Just like in life, man, it's incredible. I keep going back to that. Every time I think about it, it like gives me goosebumps. Anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
So I like to create that midtone. This is what I'll show you. And what I think is what you're talking about, Adam. Let's see. That's pretty much like an underpainting for oils that I've done, or charcoal underpainting. So I'm going to go through with my eraser, right? And I think what I see you saying is you focus on these gaps. So I'm going to pay attention in your case is these areas right here is what you're saying. Shoot. Say right in here, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm going to use my eraser, and like again, you see how I have the flat brush selected from my eraser here?
Right.
I'm just inclined to go to that flat brush. I like it. I started oil painting a few years back, and just as earlier this year in January, I took a painting class, online painting class with Joseph Todorovic, and it blew my mind. And I really started getting even more comfortable with the idea of using the blunt end of a flat brush. So I just implemented it into everything that I use now. So anyways, let's go ahead and go into these shapes that we're talking about. Again, Adam, you're focusing on those shapes. So like no matter what, there's still a triangle there. That would be the first triangle that I pay attention to with regards to this subject matter. But bring it down to the simplest of forms, and it doesn't have to be clean. It can be as messy as you want it to be, because it's going to help with the overall composition. And what I see with those negative shapes as well is that strong highlight back here on the back.
Right.
And I start to see it turn. Now what I'm doing is I'm paying attention to the top point
Tone
here.
matching or value matching.
The shape matching. Yeah, value. Yes, exactly. Good way to put it, because I'm paying attention to the values and the shapes. The shapes in the value, I'm sorry.
This is a great pose. It's cool. It reminds me of a something like a video from Tool or an H.R. Giger.
Yeah.
Xenomorph. Well, you know, some alien shape with the ribs there across that beautiful curve. It looks cool.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. Yeah, I found this on Google. or earlier today. Been up
It's
for a little
super,
while.
super good.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. It's great. It creates a story for you, you know?
Yeah, it's got some power, like it's a neat look. Yeah, very interesting look.
Mm-hmm. But Adam, you can see how we paid attention to those native shapes.
Yeah, that helps
In.
so much. Yes.
And you can see how like it just simplified everything for us. And like you can already tell what it is that you're trying to create. We've eliminated that fear, we've eliminated that anxiety, we've eliminated all the pressure off of the whole thing, and we're able to capture the nuance of like what you're saying, though, that interesting pose. What is the story behind it? It makes you want to look at it. And that's what we're trying to do more than anything else. Even outside of matching this image perfectly, like the whole reason that the painting masters started doing all those different styles of art, cubism, and then like, like Van Gogh creating those simple brushstrokes, because they wanted to get away from that replication of reality because of the camera. The camera started coming into play, and they're like, dude, we're done. That's it.
Right. We got to change.
Yes, exactly. There's something that can capture it perfectly. What is the point of us painting these paintings? So that's the whole idea. So like what I mean by that is like by saying, and I'm in no way trying to compare myself to these people at all. But what I'm saying is that like it's more about capturing the essence of the image, not being tied to the subject, but using the subject in its truest form, which is that invoking emotion.
Okay.
So it doesn't always have to be precise. You just get that out of your mind, and like you can practice precision while you're studying how to process the information as quickly as possible. And then later, after we get all this information down, then you can start going in and start recognizing, okay, or sometimes it'll pop out all on its own. Like you start to see how you might have placed something in the wrong area, or it needs to relate to itself a little bit differently, like it's okay. It's not
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot faster with that last night, especially. Like realizing that I had something misproportioned.
Yeah.
Just because of the limited times.
That's good though.
Right.
The whole point is to get you in the practice. That those speed drawings is to get you loosened up, to get you warmed up, so you can get rid of all that tension. And you're processing, you're turning your left and right mode into, the different functions that need to be happening in order to be able to perceive these shapes. You go from your analytical to your, surreal or abstract kind of thoughts, Analytical being like you hear people talking to you all day, you're taking information, you're staring at their face, which is another reason that I think that makes faces and stuff like that so hard, is because we're so used to processing that information from that orifice. We're so used to seeing a face as information, giving us an emotion even sometimes, or making us try to feel a certain way or a relationship to it in whatever capacity that may be. But so you break it down to the simplest shapes, and you start thinking of it in more of an abstract way, and that's all it is. It's just shapes, simple shapes and light and shadow hitting it that would make it create the overall image. There.
No.
So you can see Adam. How I started at this point here, right? And I made it up there, and I already started to see where I went wrong, so I just lowered everything down to the correct shape.
Oh, that looks good. Yeah, I was slower than, well, I don't know if I was slower than everyone else or anything. I didn't see everyone's things, but I felt slow doing these last night. Got to practice, I guess, huh?
Yeah, practice.
Yeah.
Your chance to get, like, the iPad is great, and that's what I was going to talk. What we'll talk about next is what I used to do is carry around the sketchbook with me before the iPad, and I would just have this sketchbook full of stuff of just these simple shapes of like trees, of cars, of people walking by, or somebody sitting down having a cup of coffee or something like that. Like I tried to break it down as much as I could into these simple shapes, and that's the entire sketchbook. There was nothing definitive in it. There was nothing clear about it at all it is my practice sketchbook. And I love going back to it. I love thumbing through it. You know what I mean? Because like you can take those shapes, you can take those proportions and make it into whatever you want to at that point. You wanted to make it into some weird looking monster. Chet Zar, I think, is an artist that you guys should check out. Like he does a lot of up close portraits of these weird dysmorphed kind of human monster shapes. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like that. Like you could make it into whatever you wanted to at that point. But the important part is studying and recognizing the simplest of form. So there's that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good. That's a
Yeah.
cool idea.
Yeah.
I
I'll
like
show you
that
guys
sketchbook
some-
idea.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I
man.
carry a
And
briefcase around with me everywhere. I pretty much have
Awesome.
3 little pads that, depending on what I'm doing, I'll be on one, the other, or an iPad.
That's good, man. That's good. But that's what I was saying. Like with the advent of the iPad, you know what I mean? You have all your sketchbooks right here. Like you can just create little
Right.
folders, little stacks and stuff like that. And it's just one stack full of just renderings. Just like this. Just have your, have your color swatches right here. Have your color swatches on a separate layer, like I do right here. Just have your color swatches good to go and have it down by the base layer, that back down here by the background there, and just keep creating more and more layers. And then you could even title it. You could even rename it, like, today's August. What is today's date, guys? The 10th or 11th?
The 10th.
Yeah, August 10th. August 10th, 2021, episode 2. There you go. And then it's always there. And you can have it logged away. The other thing I would suggest too is I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, one of the biggest things I used to do was get so frustrated that I would tear something out of the sketchbook and crumple it up and throw it away. Stop doing that. Stop
Yeah, I
doing
did
that.
that a lot.
Yeah,
I don't
stop
care
doing
about
it.
that.
I've
The
done that
only
to
way
like
I
all
do
my
it is if it
sketchbooks.
tears out by accident.
That's the other part with the sketchbooks, right? Like if you get something without the ring binders and stuff like that, like something that's a little more, like have a bunch of hardback books, like sketchbooks. Like I would suggest that. Sure, a little bit easier to take care of. It'll last a little bit longer, and then like with all the in and
Right.
outs that you put into your bag and stuff like that, it just takes care of it better. But the important part of not throwing that stuff away is if you start developing that habit, it's going to be easy for you to want to just throw away. It's going to be easier for you to just like, oh, I'm done, and just toss it. Instead, try to reprogram ourselves. We try to approach ourselves in a more productive way. Every day is an opportunity. Every moment is an opportunity. That's the moment for us to take the opportunity to write down a little note for ourselves in that same page. Really wanted to throw this thing away at this point in time with a drawing. I'm doing my best not to do that. I'm breaking my habit. Just write it down. Say it to yourself. Affirmations. We have to set them for ourselves in order to grow. And we have to continuously add that to our verbiage, especially when it comes to wanting to become better artists, because it's all perception. We are creating illusions for people to understand what it is that we want them to see. So in order to be able to do that, we have to be able to wrap our mind around the fact that that's exactly what our own life is, the creation of whatever it is that we want it to be. When we wrap our heads around that, in relation and then terms of parallel meanings or integrated meanings, like it will perform well with our art too. So that's my little rant there for a second. It's all
No,
consciousness.
I feel that for sure. Like I keep a hold of all of my little, no matter how messed up it is, no matter what, if it's just a little sketch, a little doodle, a little spot that some ink spilled. Like I don't care if I can play with it later, if I can go back to it and manipulate it, if I just need it as a lesson that, God, look at how bad I was doing. Aren't I glad that I'm on this path?
Yeah. And that'll be another good thing to do too, man, is take that word bad and be like, look how much different it used to be. Look how much
Right.
look how much more understanding I have now of this perception. Like just at this point in my life, I keep saying this thing. It might sound like this a bunch of positive talk, man, but I'm at this point in my life now where I realize that it makes a big difference for me So if it makes a big difference for me and I can talk about it, you guys are willing to listen, then maybe it'll make an effect somewhere at some point in time, you know? So yeah, but I
Oh,
get
for
you,
sure.
dude, believe me, because like, man, I used to be the same way with all my drawings. Just, I can't tell you how many garbage bags full of stuff I've thrown away. I really wish that I had them. I could just like thumb through them, you know what I mean? And see the change. But all right, so I have this little still life set up. Let me see if I can get this set up for you guys. I'm gonna try to turn the camera on and see about highlighting it here real quick. Give me one second. I wonder if I can. Yeah, let's do this. Let's take my screen share off real quick.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, so there is the. And hey, Lauren, are you there?
Yep.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I have this set up. It's pretty simple. If you guys can see, there is a triangle in there. Actually, Lauren, if we can go ahead and if we can split the screen, I'll go ahead and screen share again and just eliminate my face, and we can show everybody how we're going to do this. Thank you so much for all your help. Can we put the little still life drawing back up along with my iPad share? Can you guys see the still life drawing? The still life study?
No, I
did.
don't.
It's gone.
There it is.
Oh, now I can. Okay.
All right. Hey, sorry, I wasn't listening for the last 20 seconds because I have to like, all good now.
Okay, thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, so guys, you can see my screen share. So I want you to observe as much information right now as we can, okay? But as far as much information that you can, what I'm talking about is just the simplest of shapes that you can find in this image. And what we do is we find the simple shapes, and then we're going to study as well and observe as well the way the light is hitting those simple shapes. It shows these angular pieces of wood and this little round like fake pear or fake apple, whatever it might be, as just so we can see the difference in form and value that it might make because of that light source. So on my screen here, I set it up this way so we can just see that simple triangle that it creates. And again, when we're looking at something as simple as this little life study, it might seem like it's elementary or it's trivial to do, but if there's nothing that can be more educational than the simplest of things to look at. And the reason I say that is because what we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate all that anxiety. We're trying to eliminate all that tension that might come along with the idea and the perceived notion of drawing from life. We're trying to replicate what we understand to be communication, what we understand to be a translation or a legible definition.
Oh.
So we're going to do a real quick study of it while we're staring at it, right? I'm trying to make this as fast as we can. You guys are drawing along. That's great. Keep it up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, here in just a second, if you can draw along, that'd be awesome. And then when we're done, we'll take a look at these 2 different drawings that we're going to do. And I'm going to show you guys, after I studied this, what I'm going to do next. Next, we're going to turn our back to it, and we're going to draw what we know to be true as far as our perception.
Ricardo, what was that last part again? We're gonna turn our backs and
Yeah, we're going to turn our backs to it, and what we're going to do is draw it from what we remember as far as our perception of it.
okay.
So what we're doing is we're studying the values right now.
Values.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, we're studying the values right now. Yes. Yeah, we're studying the values, and we're studying the way that these values help shape our form.
All right.
Yeah. So we're going to take a few more minutes after we've drawn this one. So if you guys can draw it while you're looking at it and get as much information in as you can.
Well, answer it anyway because. Oh.
Sounds like tattoo shop business there.
It does. Do you work
I
in a
don't
shop?
miss it. I have my own private one now.
Yeah, me too, man. I love it.
Yeah, I don't miss all that hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet.
I liked it. I liked it when at the time I did enjoy it, but now that I'm a little older, I don't know. I guess I'm sort of a curmudgeon or something. I don't know what happened to me.
You know what
I feel
happened with me,
that.
man? Yeah, do you? Yeah, man, I do too. What happened with me, dude, is that I would find myself doing these drawings for people for tattoos and stuff like that I was having to get done, and somebody would come in and just want to hang out and talk, and I found myself just getting all anxious and man, I'm trying to study, trying to get homework done, or I'd be tattooing somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to hang out and distracting from the person's relaxation, from my zoned in kind of moment with the tattoo and such. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get distracted pretty easy, and and it's hard to get work done then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's just my personality, I guess. I need to be kind of quiet, even during drawing groups. Sometimes when I feel like I don't know, I guess there's a little pressure to talk or be on camera or be critiqued or whatever, but which is fine, but it makes it a little bit harder for me to draw as well or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're trying to get into that relaxation. Go ahead.
Oh, I think I'm getting over it because I've been doing it more often lately, so it's easier. But at first, just being in the group, I couldn't get the flow, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I mean that, and dude, it's the groups that I think you're referring to is the guy. You know what I mean? And it's Guy Atchison, dude. It's oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do I want to show him this picture? Can I show him this picture? Oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit to not be intimidated by that, or it did in my case. Yes.
Especially with something that I know I'm bad at, like anatomy. That was, something.
Yeah, it's hard to show things when it's not my best my best type of effort or whatever. It's damn, well, here's this shitty drawing. That's how I felt sometimes.
Yeah.
Or this
You
one's
guys,
weird, but
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
mhm.
I'm gonna go for it. All right, so we got a few more minutes, just a few more minutes on this. And like I said, this is something that I used to love to practice. I traveled around a lot as a kid, so I had to kind of find ways to kind of separate myself from the amount of people that were around me all the time. And my natural inclination was always to draw. You know what I mean? So I just kind of found ways to kind of sneak away and just sit by myself and draw, and so that I didn't. So, so I found out that I liked drawing what I saw at the time, because I don't think that I had too much of the imagination going on at that point in time. But by doing this, what we're going to do next, it helped me be able to sit down and create from my own memory, create from my own imagination, and it helped instigate my imagination even, because what I didn't realize at the time was that I was studying just the way light and shadow are affected by each other, and the way that they are used to manipulate the image, and the way that we can use that information in order to make anything that we want to. Sitting down in front of the canvas and creating an image, because then we have a better grasp and an understanding of how light affects shape, and how that light hitting that shape affects it into a form, into a dimensional form.
Yeah.
Right, so there's that. Okay. All right, you guys ready for this one?
Nope, but let's go.
Let's do it. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm going to turn off any recognition that I have of that image. So we're gonna turn this off entirely. Let me turn off the camera here real quick. Hold on one second. Yeah. All right, there we go. I'm gonna come back over here with this the other canvas. And so without looking at our old layer, right, we're going to draw that as much as we can out of our memory as fast as possible. All will give us, let's see, what time is it right now? Let's give us about, what do you guys think, about another 10 minutes? Still 10 minutes. So at 10:33 we'll stop. All right, for it. And what we're doing is we're remembering those basic shapes, how we got started, where everything was laying on top of itself. We're trying to remember those shadowed shapes. Trying to remember the way that the light affected simple form.
So Jordan was still working, and then Christian, like asked me to leave, and I was like, dude, I'm not going to tell you to leave. You can leave if you want, or you can call Joe like I told you. Why does he ask me to leave?
And this is where it's also good to like start in real light. Starting really light, that way you're not too worried about the idea of it being permanent.
And then in the morning. Oh, yeah. No, it was great. So we get to that point, or no, I think it was, it was probably 1:45. So then Christian is like,
what point are they talking about?
Yeah, I'm wondering that too. It's funny listening to
Yeah,
conversations.
I'll mute myself.
It's okay, man. It's okay.
No, that's cool. I when I'm in public drawing, it's fun to listen and people watch and just listen to conversations sometimes, because there's nothing else going on. So it's kind of cool.
Totally. Yeah. It
Sometimes
creates
you
that
hear
moment for you too.
funny stuff. You might hear some funny things.
Oh, definitely could be. Definitely could be.
Yeah.
It could be hilarious. If our
Yeah,
other
I've heard.
manager shows up in a minute, you'll hear it.
Oh, awesome.
When people think nobody's listening, they'll talk about personal things or something. It's like, holy crap, what am I listening
Oh
to?
yeah.
It's funny.
Dude, and it's more and more obvious nowadays. Like people just walk in listening to the phone real loud and stuff, or just talking and lying and stuff. Dude. And you're like,
Yeah.
why are you talking about your doctor's appointment in the grocery line, dude? Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
yeah.
really.
We'll get totally done, and then I'll tell them, aha, y'all are on YouTube.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I really appreciate you guys joining in, and I was looking forward to
Oh,
today.
absolutely. It's a blast. I
Yeah.
was so excited to get up and
This
do
is
this
cool.
this morning.
Yeah, me too. I was planning on getting up early and just, this is cool. Thanks for doing this. This is neat, man.
For real.
Enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
Good deal, man. Good deal. I'm glad to hear that.
I feel like I'm cheating. I keep looking over and seeing your screen.
Oh no.
Like I hear your voice, so I look over.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay. Because the premise of it is so like we can start
To not
practicing
look
this,
right.
and then to start practicing this on our own too. I would literally go outside and just like look at a tree, look at whatever it is that strikes my notion for interesting subject matter that day at that moment, and then just draw it as quick as you can the first time while observing it physically, and then do another on the page and then do the blind observation.
Right.
It's going to train us to start taking in those simple shapes of information as fast as possible, and to start observing how it affects its world around it.
So this exercise helps you recall things on the spot and be better at that. Is that kind of the
Right. It's almost like a fast value study.
It's to understand the shapes. Yes, it's to
I
help
see.
understand like how shadow affects the overall shape and how it affects
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it's also going to be able to be recalled whenever you sit down to draw other images as well, because then you're able to like take in
memory bank.
Yeah, it's in the memory bank. It's in the memory bank, and the muscle memory as well. It'll be muscle memory with it.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea.
Yeah.
That probably gets more than gets you out of the habit of using the one light source that you're used to in your mind or something, for one, maybe.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you sit down to draw, you're also going to, just recollect that muscle memory is going to come back in to play. It's the same way when you ride a bike. I mean, when you ride a bike, you can not ride a bike for years and get back on, and it's like, oh yeah, you just remember how to do it right away. Or walking. Like think about how subconscious, like walking is so subconscious. Breathing, like digesting food, it just happens. You know what I mean? Like body's so acclimated to doing it. Why can't we do the same thing with the way we observe the world around us?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It would help a lot. Photo recall.
Total recall.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think we're almost there for time. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Not so great.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see, right? All right.
But first one, I don't expect it to be great.
No, of course not. And it's not even about like what's best or who's the best or anything. It's just about the performance.
Right. The learning how to practice this.
Learning to practice it and learning that it's going to start clicking into place that the idea and the perception of simple shapes, simple shadows, simple light sources, and how they affect those triangles that we're talking about today, those circles that we talked about today, those rectangles that we talked about today, how it all affects each other. So that way, when you do go to sit down and draw from life or life studies, it makes it easier for you to approach it and a little bit more recognizable. That's for application. Okay, so let's see. Stop sharing the screen. All right. Let's all right, so let's see where we're at, guys. Let's who wants to go first? You know what? I'll go first. Let's see here. Shit. Okay, good. I'll just pick this up and show you guys the two next to each other. And this one was really simple. And like I said, I wanted to keep it simple so we could do that. So the one on, let's see. One on, it'll be your guys' right. This is the first one. Find, blind. Okay.
Oh wow, that's like looks pretty perfect.
Right.
Close. Now you can see
Yeah,
how
very
the circle's
close.
a little bit more oblong. You know what I mean?
Okay.
more
Oh,
oblong.
like yeah. In the first, it
Mhm.
looks like a sphere, and the second
Right.
maybe egg shape a little.
Yep.
Oh, that's
But
really nice.
but the important part of what we're doing is the way that I was recalling the light and the shadow shapes, the highlighted areas and the dark areas, and how that affects that. Because all I did the same thing where I applied the simple shape of the triangle to it that I pointed out in
Right.
the first drawing, and I applied that simple triangle and where that circle sat inside of that triangle right away. So that helped me out with the overall form, the overall silhouette of that suggested life study.
Mhm.
So let's see what you guys got.
I made the mistake of not defining my Terminator edges on the rock, so it just looks really ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Same
it
thing
doesn't
with
look
the
ridiculous at
shadows
all.
beneath it.
Oh, it's looks good.
Yeah, it looks
What is
good. You're getting the idea already, so that's great because like you have the triangular shape, you have the circle that's in relation to that triangle, and you have the simple relation of the shadows. Now the shadows, like you're talking about, the Terminator edge might not be there, but I think what would help that drawing is the cast shadow that's created because of the light hitting that sphere and those and those rectangles.
What is a
Yeah,
Terminator
stellar job,
line?
man. The Terminator line
It's
is
an edge where the light falls off.
mhm,
Okay.
exactly. So like
Oh,
on
Like
a
zero
like on a
light will
sphere.
pass past.
okay.
Yeah, it would be the top edge of that form. So in terms of a circle, it would be at the top edge of the sphere where the light
Okay.
is hitting it. Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh yeah, very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Let me highlight you real quick. Let me send you. Yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, you
Yeah,
nailed it. You
definitely.
got it.
Thank
So you can
you.
see in the second one where you did a little bit, where the rectangles are a little bit more oblong. Or,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, more parallel than that is in the little wood chip, right? But
Yeah, I lost the shape of them, that rock a little bit. Yeah.
Mhm. But that's the best part is that we're not trying to go exact. We're trying to go with what it is that our eye is perceiving in the first study, and then what it is that we're going to recreate in the second study, just by off of a perception of reality, right? So like
That's cool.
we're always creating these illusions. We're always creating these perceived notions of reality. So it's okay for it to be different. We're not trying to nail it perfectly. We're trying to nail that observation of shape and form. That's it.
Gotcha.
But you guys both did fucking killer on
Gotcha.
it, man. It's great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
it's killer. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, that's pretty much all I got for today, guys. I can't thank you enough for joining me. But what we'll
No
do is,
problem at all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
what would
you.
be cool is Yeah, you're welcome. I'd like it if you guys could, like, if you want to pick up that sketchbook or make that little category inside of your iPad and do a few studies from time to time and just drop me a line, man. See, just you can give me some notes and stuff like that if you guys want, or reach out and, send me a message, or if you want to jump in on the classes and talk about it, man, I'd love to do that. So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cool.
but
All right.
what we'll do
So-
here, we're going to go around. I'm sorry, go ahead, Rod.
Oh, so the exercise, the last exercise we did, if we practice that, contact you in a little bit about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Practice outside in your real world, or like even if today we studied the form, like I just pulled pictures off the internet and stuff like that. If you want to do that, if you're just having a few minutes while you're on a plane or in a taxi or whatever, dude, and
All
whatever.
right.
Like if you guys are just sitting around the house, like if you're gonna do human, if you're gonna do some kind of study, whatever it is, make it simple.
All right.
Try to just make it simple at first, and then start going into more detailed kind of oriented images and stuff like that.
All righty.
Yeah.
I found a set of pre-models, free models. I think it was on Proco, but I'll shoot you a link to it later, Ricardo.
Killer, man, that'd be great. Thank you.
For sure.
All right.
Share that with you. All right, so I'm gonna walk around the room here, and I'm gonna pin you guys, and why don't you guys let us know where you're coming in from, and just give us some basic information about you. And Rod, we'll go ahead and start with you first.
Oh, hey, I'm Rod Graybill from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've been tattooing over 20 years, in between that and 25. Yeah, I work by myself in a studio, and if you want to look me up, you can find it Solonius Prime on Instagram, and you could Facebook my name, Rod, R-O-D Graybill. Graybill.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Rod, you're gonna be traveling with Jason here pretty soon, right?
I am. Yeah.
Cool.
That'll be, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, he just messaged me last night, man. I think I might fly out there to you guys, and maybe we could all ride up there together to Massachusetts.
Yeah,
So, man,
that's rad. That's rad.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Cool. All right, Comic, let's get you going, man.
Very cool. I'm Aaron, atomic_inkjections47 on Instagram. I tattoo out of Marietta, Georgia. Been tattooing for about a little over a year and a half now, right at. Finally getting to do some biomech work I'm super excited about.
Killer.
Feel free to hit us up.
Nice, man.
Appreciate you a bunch, Ricardo. Like so much. You and Jason, everybody. Lauren.
Thank you. It's all about getting better every day, and it's so cool to kind of be along for the ride with you guys.
Yeah,
right. I like to tell our apprentices all the time, it's not being about better than who's next to you. It's about being better than you were yesterday.
That's
perfect,
right.
Dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Dude. Lauren, you think if we have enough time, we can play that little clip, that video and stuff like that real fast before we sign off? All right, cool. I got a little video of, I don't know if you guys have heard of Joseph Campbell. I've had Lauren play a video of his before. I love his insight. He's a philosopher. He's a great dude. He does a lot of stuff on myth and legend and stuff like that in correlation to what we believe as religions and things that are perception on life and people. But if you guys get a chance, check him out. But here's a little 2-minute clip real quick. So.
So 1 second, let me unmute.
Okay.
Of it. What is it? Jane and I are living in Hawaii, and
Sorry, guys.
Cool. Okay. Thank you so much, Lauren.
we're living right by the ocean, and we have a little lanai, a little porch, and there's a coconut tree that grows up through that porch, and it goes on up. And there's a kind of vine plant, a big powerful thing with leaves like this, that has grown up the coconut tree. Now that plant sends forth little feelers to go out and clutch the plant, and it knows where the plant is and what to do, and where the tree is, and it grows up like this, and it opens a leaf, and that leaf immediately turns to where the sun is. Now you can't tell me that leaf doesn't know where the sun is going to be. All of the leaves go just like that, what's called heliotropism, turning toward where the sun is. That's a form of consciousness. There is a plant consciousness. There is a animal consciousness. And we share all of these things. You eat certain foods and the bile knows whether there's something there for it to go to work on. I mean, this whole thing is consciousness. I begin to feel more and more that the whole world is conscious. Certainly the vegetable world is conscious. And when you live in the woods, as I did as a kid, you can see all these different consciousnesses relating to themselves.
Scientists are beginning to talk quite openly about the Gaia principle.
There you are, the whole planet as an organism.
Mother Earth.
And you see, if you will think of ourselves as coming out of the earth, rather than as being thrown in here from somewhere else, you know, thrown out of the earth, we are the earth. We are the consciousness of the earth. These are the eyes of the earth. And this is the voice of the earth. What else?
Mhm. Yeah, I love that guy's stuff, man. If you guys get a chance, check him out. That was one of his last interviews that he had. There's I think 8 or 9 part series, or each about an hour to an hour and a half long. Give it a go, man. The guy used to teach at a college. I can't remember which college it was, but one of the people that were in one of his classes was George Lucas. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
that's fun, that whole Star Wars story. You know what I mean? And we all love Star Wars, and that's a fact. I mean, I think we all do anyway. I know I love it. But
Right.
I do
and
too.
like it's an old legend. You know what I mean? All he's really done is kind of take it and put it a few different spins on it and stuff like that. But we can all relate to these things because they're very human traits in all of us. You know what I mean? So we connect to it. But like a lot with the way I perceive my art and the way I think that we all perceive some part of our life as far as the influence on our art goes. You know what I mean? So
Right.
give it a go. Let me know what you guys think. Check it out, man. As always, Rob, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us. Lauren,
Thank you.
For sure.
you're such a huge help, and you make this such an easy thing for us. Thank you for all the hard work that you put in behind the scenes and everything. Guy Aitchison, thank you so much for your dream and making this a reality. Gabe, thank you for your help as well. And I want to give a big shout out to the Horseman, Bruno Salvatierra, Jason Leeser, Kier Franklin. You guys have all been very influential over me over the past few months, and I don't think I'd be here without you guys kind of affirming me to do some of these things and stuff. So it's fucking great, man. I can't be happier than being a part of this right now. It's fucking amazing. But my name is Ricardo Sturdivant. I work at Candor Tattoo on Instagram. I am also in my private studio. I love it. I do feel, however, though, I have kind of quarantined myself to a certain point, and this year was the year of the breakout year. And I'm loving it so far. I've always been very fearful of it. I've always been kind of timid about it, and the kid in the back corner, even though I started a bunch of rustle and hustle and stuff like that when I was younger, from a negative place, and now I'm trying to come from a more positive place, man. So I can't thank you guys enough
I
for
feel
allowing me to express myself. Yeah, it's crazy, right? But
Yep.
thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.